Hey, I'm Jusko from ProudMoney.com. In this video, we are going to look at the best sources for free credit scores, and we are also going to talk about what exactly you are getting from each of these sources when it comes to a credit score, because not every credit score is the same. So we'll look at the sources, and then we'll also kind of on the back end talk more about where they came from, how you should think about these different scores. One thing I will note here up front is that we are going to show a preference for FICO credit scores versus VantageScore credit scores. Most lenders, whether it's credit cards, auto loans, mortgages, or some other kind of loan, are going to be looking at your FICO credit score much more often than they would be looking at a VantageScore credit score. But there are many of these free sources that are going to be giving you VantageScore credit scores. So you might see that score and think this is what the lender is going to use, but that is not necessarily the case. And it's actually true with any credit score that you get for free, that whatever score you are given does not necessarily mean that is the exact same score that a lender is going to be looking at when they decide to approve you or not, which can be confusing. And again, we'll talk about that on the back end. But let's get into where you should go to actually check your scores. I'm going to give you two sources right off the bat that I think are probably the best places where I would start if I was looking for a free credit score. So one of them is FICO themselves. So FICO, or Fair Isaac Company, runs a website called MyFICO, and they actually do offer a free credit score service where you will get a FICO Score 8 using Equifax data, Equifax being one of the big credit reporting bureaus. I've put a link down below to that FICO free credit score, because sometimes it's not always apparent where it actually is if you go to the MyFICO site. And then Experian, another of the major credit reporting bureaus, offers a service where you can get a free credit score, a free FICO credit score using Experian's credit reporting data. Be aware that with many of these services that offer free credit scores, you are sort of making an exchange when you sign up for them. And what I mean by that is they'll give you the free credit score, but once you sign up, you are sort of in the fine print giving them permission to then market various financial products to you, whether that is credit cards that might fit your credit profile, mortgages, auto loans, personal loans, whatever. Now, one of the ways that many people get their free credit scores is from Credit Karma. In fact, for many people, that may be the first time they ever even considered the fact that they had a credit score that they might want to check. So Credit Karma offers you actually two free credit scores, and they come from TransUnion and from Equifax, data from those two credit reporting bureaus. These are VantageScore credit scores, which again can be useful, but they are not maybe as useful as a FICO score because lenders more often use the FICO score, but still, Credit Karma, a big name in the free credit score game. Three of the major credit card companies also offer free credit scores even for people that are not their customers. Now, they may want you to become their customer, and maybe they'll use the fact that you're getting the score from them to try to draw you into being a customer, but you can get the credit score without it. So American Express has the My Credit Guide, which is a free FICO score that uses Experian data. Capital One has CreditWise, which is a VantageScore, which uses TransUnion data. And then Chase has the Credit Journey, which is also a VantageScore, and they are using Experian data for that score. So those half dozen sources will all offer you a free credit score without you having to pay, without you having to be a customer, anything like that. Yes, you might get marketed to various financial products, but you're not going to have to pay anything, and you don't have to be a customer. However, there are a number of credit card issuers that will offer you a free credit score if you are their customer already without any additional charge. And so if you already have a credit card from one of these companies, you might want to look at what they are offering as well. So both Bank of America and Discover will offer free FICO scores that come from TransUnion data. Wells Fargo offers a free credit score using Experian data. Citi offers a free FICO score on some, maybe not all, of their credit cards. In this case, it's a bank card score, which actually is a little different from the scores that you're going to get from most of the other sources. And then US Bank also offers a VantageScore credit score using TransUnion data. So those are 11 good sources for free credit scores, and if you feel like you understand how credit scores work and you just wanted to know where to get them, you could go out and grab one for yourself. However, if you are someone that is a little confused and you need maybe a little more context about what is going on with all of these different types of credit scores, I will give that to you now. We have made another video that we really go into depth about why there are so many different credit scores, and you definitely should check that out if you want to know all about it, but I'll give you sort of the short version here. So there are three major credit reporting bureaus in the United States: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Each of these companies accumulates data about you and your financial history, specifically your payment history and things related to that for credit cards, mortgages, auto loans, personal loans, and then any other loans of that type. So what they are going to be doing is getting data from the lenders about how much debt you have, whether you are making your payments on time, how big your credit limits are, how long it's been since you got your first credit card, all kinds of stuff like that. And each one of these credit bureaus is going to have slightly different information about you because they're not all necessarily going to be able to collect the same information, because the lenders may not provide information to all three of them. They might only provide information to one. They might provide information to two or all three. So there's going to be a little bit of difference between what data they have, but not a ton of difference. Now, all that data that they have about you might be confusing for a different lender to look at and say, should I lend to this person or not? And that is how credit scores came about. It basically was a way to distill all that information into sort of a mathematical formula and give you a credit score that shows how risky you might be to a new lender that has not lent to you before. Looking at all your credit history, a credit score is devised. Now, FICO is the original credit scoring model, the company that actually came up with the credit score to begin with. So the FICO scores have been around for a long time. A newer entrant, not so new at this point, but VantageScore came later. So what this all means, though, is that you've got three different credit reporting bureaus, and then you've got FICO or VantageScore as the credit scoring models. So you can have right off the bat 6 different credit scores right there. You can have an Experian FICO score, you can have an Experian VantageScore, you can have a TransUnion FICO score, a TransUnion VantageScore, etc. So right off the bat, we've got a lot of different credit scores. So when you hear these things about where the credit data is coming from and whether it's a FICO score or a VantageScore, that is why there's so much difference. So a lot of people want to know what their credit score is, but as you can see, there are many credit scores attached to any single person because of the fact that they can be coming from different sources with different credit scoring models. And you don't necessarily know in advance when you want a new credit card or an auto loan or another loan what model is going to be used, what credit reporting bureau it's going to come from. So if you say, I got my free credit score, here's my credit score, they're going to go off that same information and they're going to say my credit score is that. That is not necessarily true. They could be pulling from a different credit reporting bureau than the one you think is your credit score. They could be using a different credit scoring model. Again, most lenders going to be using a FICO credit score model versus VantageScore, but it is possible it could be a VantageScore model. And then of course, it is TransUnion, Experian, or Equifax that the credit score could be coming from. Now that might all sound confusing and I might not have made it any clearer, but the good news is that even though there are so many different credit scores, usually they aren't going to be that far off from each other. And if you are checking your credit score on any regular basis, you can sort of look at the trend of the credit score that you are using to see if it is getting better. So as long as you are consistent about sort of checking the same credit score, well then you can see if you are improving or not. Even if you're not the exact same number that a lender might see, it is still useful information to have. So don't get too bogged down as to whether the credit score that you think you have is the one that the lender is using. As long as you are doing things like making your payments on time, not overdoing it in terms of how big your balances are on your credit card, all of that good stuff, well, then you're going to get yourself in the right direction, and the credit score that you think you have is going to be fairly close to whatever a lender is probably looking at. So anyway, we got a lot of sources for 4 free credit scores there. If you have any questions or comments, love to hear those in the comments section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching. And as always, please go to proudmoney.com where we do credit card reviews. We talk personal finance, we talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. If you're not going to leave a comment or go to the website, the next video for you to watch is right there.